Finally got around to making this video. I wanted to just finish the first act first before I got my thoughts together about this game, and honestly, after finishing the first act, I am fully invested into this game. And if any of you want to see me, normally I plug in my Twitch, but my schedule for streaming has been so sporadic that you're better off actually following my Twitch as well, but at the same time joining my Discord, as if you get the Twitch roll in there, it'll straight up alert you automatically whenever I go live. Again, otherwise, every so often I will start making clips and posting them online on my YouTube and other places. But yeah, with that out of the way, let me go ahead and just say what I need to say about this game. For one, like I said, I finished the prologue and the first act. I'm already fully invested into the story, and again, it's surprising that this is a game made by a small studio, but the face expressions they have, the way they talk and everything, it feels so genuine and lifelike that you actually start to build a connection with these characters, which in a sense, it starts to suck when things start to happen to them. I'm not going to spoil it, but I'm just letting you know now, after you finish the first act, if any of you played this game, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. As for the combat, it's been something that's been kind of divisive between people. Me, I kind of enjoy it because I'm a big fan of turn-based games. I like the added twist to it that you can dodge or parry attacks. The parrying part is tricky because you can either dodge and avoid damage, or if you parry, do it enough times, or say if they attack once and you parry it, you can actually counter attack. But again, it's one of those things where you really got to get the timing perfect, and it is really hard to do, but very rewarding once you get the hang of it. Yeah, one thing I do like about this game as well is it has like this open world hut area, and then in between there's little sections where you're just exploring and pretty much learning the environment as you go, fighting new enemies. As for the music, that's one thing I think I found out that apparently the composer for the music they found on SoundCloud, and that surprises me because one of the things that you'll come to realize is when I don't know if that is true or not, but it's just crazy that someone they found off SoundCloud was capable of making music that just hits like this. One thing I did enjoy about the game was the pricing, and so far I feel like I've already gotten my money's worth. Again, I only beat the first act. The game was $50, which is a breath of fresh air, especially when every other game seems to be going for the $60, $70, or in Nintendo's case, $80 route. So it feels nice when a small company decides to release a really high quality game and put it at a price that's not really jipping over the people that are just trying to enjoy it. If you don't have $50 to spare, it's also available on Game Pass. So there's, if you're someone with an Xbox or whatever, all the more reason to try it, because again, this game is really good, especially once you get the RPG mechanics, the parrying, the dodging. Also, by the way, like I said before, the parrying and all that is, it gets you by, but don't fall into one of those people that, that you feel like you need to parry. Parrying just, makes it easier to deal with bosses when you counterattack. But if you ever feel overwhelmed or whatever, there's nothing wrong with dodging. Again, you play the game at your disclosure. Just wanted to say that because I've seen so much where people would just simply be dodging, and for whatever reason, they feel the need to just say like, oh, parrying is a lot better. It's a skill issue if you can't do it. But yeah, that about does it for this part of the video. This next part, I want to basically say it towards anybody working, because here's the funny thing about this game. I've been talking about how much I enjoy it. If you go around, people are like basically praising this game, and deservedly so. This game was made because someone was bored at Ubisoft. So yeah, this game was made by roughly 33 people, most of them being ex-Ubisoft devs. And honestly, from what I've been playing and from me trying to give Assassin's Creed Shadows a chance, which by the way, I just dropped the game. I tried my best, and the reason I kept trying to play it and covering it was because some of the X-Defiant devs got moved over to basically help polish up that game. But, it's a good game, but it just feels very polished but safe. And then, God forbid if you decide to play it on the English dub. And it's just like, it feels very soulless in a way. Like it just got like they played it as safe as possible. There's no bugs, or as far as I can tell, there wasn't any. But all the more reason, if you're someone that's still working at Ubisoft, or if you're working at a AAA company and you come across this part of the video, there is, at this point, after seeing this, the fact that they sold over 2-3 million copies in 12 days since release, that should tell you that. And also the fact that like Schedule 1, what was the other one? I can't remember what the game is called. It's the one with the little robots that just collect stuff. There are a lot of games out there being made by just small teams that are just out taking AAA games like Call of Duty and all that. At this point, we've gone to the point in gaming where you don't need to be in a big studio with money and big resources just to make a game. From the looks of it, it feels like just trying to do that in the first place is just going to set you back. So, in my honest opinion, if you're a dev or you're looking to make a game, I would say take the hard route and try to just go independent, or just try to make a small team, or try to do it in a way where you're basically technically going indie. Because I'm going to say it now, I don't think being a AAA game, like I said, it's funny how the big companies like EA, Activision, Ubisoft, the second they come out with a new game, no one's excited anymore. They just immediately want to bring it down. But then, a new company, someone that hasn't, screwed over their consumers, comes out with a game and it builds up hype. So it's better to start over and make a first impression. But I would suggest that if you are going to do that route, you may have to start fresh. You have the experience from Ubisoft and Activision. My advice, do not mention it, because you're going to end up repeating like the situation like Back 4 Blood, where they said like they worked on Evolve, or they were basically the ones that made Left 4 Dead, and then they built up so much hype because it's like, oh look, these people worked on some of the biggest games out there, and then no one talks about it anymore. So I would say, if you do decide to go independent, it's best to just kind of cut ties with whatever big studio you had connections with, and just let your your experience, your hard work and everything, your talent, let that speak for you. Because like I said, this game was made by a small team, and again, I can't stress that enough, that the only reason this came to be was because an ex-Ubisoft dev came up with the idea while being bored at the studio. So from one bored idea, he came up with this, and people are praising it, like to the point that within 2 weeks, people are already voting it to be in this year's Game of the Year nominations, rightfully so. Again, if it ends up winning, if any award, I could see it winning awards for the music. The story's really good, but you never know. Like I said, last year we had Elden Ring, a DLC for Elden Ring being nominated, so anything could happen with this situation. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video now. Again, hopefully you enjoyed it. If you haven't played Clair Obscur Expedition 33, long name by the way, give it a try. Again, I would say if you don't have the $50 to spare, it's there on Game Pass, and I believe it should also count if you're on PC Game Pass. If you're on PlayStation, you're kind of gypped. But again, there's nothing wrong. I can understand if this was an Ubisoft game and you decided, I don't want us to give the money to Ubisoft. But these are ex-Ubisoft devs who made their own studio and made a really good game, and it really shows, especially with the voice acting and everything. So yeah, give it a go, and if you play this game, let me know what you think. And till next time, see you later, everyone.